Previously on The Business.
And we're turning our attention to something fantastic, which I'm very excited to talk about. Michael Wolf is the CEO and creative director at Formula D Interactive. Michael, welcome to The Business this morning.
Oh, welcome, and thanks for having me here.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you for coming in today. The reason that we've invited you in here is to talk about an installation and a design and a build of something which is really fantastic in Miami, Florida. And as a South African company, we kind of went, wow, that's an amazing achievement. Let's talk about first of all, what does Formula D do?
Okay, we are a specialized design company designing interactive experiences for mainly spatial environments like museums and science centers, etc. So it's quite a niche market locally in South Africa. I mean, there's a couple of museums around, and we also do corporate work. We do a lot of games and digital works, etc. But our core competence is designing these unique, immersive environments that are, reactive and interactive. And that's why we're looking a lot at international opportunities. And this is how we got into the Miami job.
I'm assuming that the National Science Museums in London or in the UK or sort of the Smithsonian Institutes in Washington and all of those are prime targets for your business.
Absolutely, and to get access to this type of business is quite difficult. And I think we were smart enough and to come up with the right strategy to approach now international work, and hopefully we get more.
I think it's devastating that we have to say that and admit that personally.
That we're going overseas?
Well, yeah. If I think about it, and we'll get to the whole Miami story. But for me, what you've just said here is really important. We talk about growing small businesses in this country. We talk about supporting entrepreneurs. We have museums. We have a culture. We have a heritage and a history that is so rich. And I'm hearing you say that probably if you took a proposal to some of them, they wouldn't know it. They wouldn't see the value of it. Yet, I know when I travel, I've been to some of the museums internationally where they just offer the most amazing experiences. And there's no reason why we can't do the same here.
Look, there is a lot of good work happening here. We got Apartheid Museum, we got Lily's Leaf. There's some amazing installations happening there. And as we speak, I just came back from a meeting with Holocaust and Genocide Center, which is going to be built here. It's in the building, and we're designing some exhibits for them. So there is work that is happening. It's just these international gigs are just it's just on a different level in terms of budgets and but there is stuff happening in South Africa. It's not there's nothing happens.
Does Formula D do just educational style installations, or would you classify yourself as crossing the line into more art installations and kind of fascination of beautifying public spaces?
Yeah, our specialty is engagement of audiences. So we find we talk to our clients. Everything is custom made and custom designed from scratch. So we start usually with an interaction model where our clients say, we want to engage this audience. Sometimes we've done some work for advertising, and as you say, I mean, we very much, our passion is in the educational sector, which includes museums and science centers. That's just where we thrive, where we look at engaging different audiences. But the technology and the outcome, the actually design pieces that we create, depends very much on the audience and how we want to engage this audience. So it may be something that involves social media. It may be in an environment where we're using different technologies like gesture-controlled interfaces, or tracking. Like the Miami piece, for example, is going to be with because 6 cameras are going to track people that walk around the space. Now they can interact with fish and schools of fish and animations that happen on the screen. But in other installations,
kind of augmented reality. Is that what you're describing?
It is. I would call it a mixed reality installation. Augmented reality is usually referred to like if you have, you see looking through a device, through a camera, and then you're looking at something and there's a marker somewhere embedded in your environment and you see like 3-dimensional objects. What we do is we have a a large-scale projection. It's an 18-meter projection with a distributed sound system. So it's like a three-dimensional space that is mapped with audiovisual content, but the content is as well interactive. So once you're stepping into the space, you become part of the space. So that's why I would rather refer to it mixed reality. It's a bit of a nerdy term, I know.
I love it.
I love it too.
What was the brief for the Miami installation? It's the Patricia and Philip Frost Museum of Science in Miami, in Florida. So what was the brief that you got, which landed on your computer?
So we got an RFQ from the museum. After we met up coincidentally with the COO who came to Cape Town. Actually, he loves Cape Town, and we managed to lure him into our office, and
well done.
There's a presentation of this big thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we ended up basically it's because it's a big project, and there's there's a big donor and semi-public and so we went through this RFQ, and the brief was to come up with an immersive environment that would depict the Gulf Stream. So the Gulf Stream is very important for the Miami region, and not only Miami, but specifically Miami. Basically, it is kind of the core of the entire ecosystem, and so plant life, fauna, flora, everything in Miami is determined by this warm stream of water that starts in that region. And so the concept of the museum is the Gulf Stream. Everything revolves around the Gulf Stream, and that piece we were asked to propose an installation for is making people feel that they're connected to this environment in a very kind of emotive. It's not like the people go there and read something about the Gulf Stream. It's just about it's actually a passage. So the environment is a passage. People passing through a passage in the museum, and the target is to make them feel this is the Gulf Stream. We feel connected somehow. So it's a bit. As you say, like it's maybe one of the more arty installations that we do. It's more about the feeling that people get once this.
I mean, I think that line is so blurred, though, when you consider the fact that people will be attracted to a piece of art, something that's flashing lights and whatever. People almost get sucked into that, and by its very nature, it's obviously educating them by doing that as well and showing what the Gulf Stream does. I mean, it sounds as though it's a near perfect installation for what they were looking for.
Yeah, no, there's we're also showing some animals in there that cannot be kept and shouldn't be kept in captivity.
Right.
So we involved, and here's where we also were strategically involving some the best of the best in South Africa to achieve these goals. We involved Black Ginger, who does like some photorealistic animations. They worked on Free Willy and other productions. World-class productions, and we're showing some animals that people cannot usually see in
Captivity.
And like for instance, a humpback whale, swims, alongside the wall, or we have the mola mola, the sunfish, sailfish, and other specific number of feature animations that will just blow people's minds because they're so photorealistic and also interacting with the audiences.
I'm fascinated as to why they chose a South African company to do this. Obviously, your pitch was brilliant and kicked everyone else's butts. Let's be honest about that. Yeah. But then the next question, and straight after that, I go, do we have the technology and the know-how in this country to be able to do that? Was it purely a South African team that worked on this?
Yeah, it's purely a South African team. We were quite. To answer your first question, yes.
Sorry, yeah.
We do have the capacity here, and we do have in that specific field. There's in the field of animation movie, we don't have even to talk about that. So animation movies, the world comes to South Africa, Cape Town to produce movies, to involve from prop makers to animators. Post-production, there's a lot of stuff that's being done here. So we have that skill. On the other hand, in terms of digital, I mean, there's so much happening in our region, specifically in Joburg, I'm sure as well. So we have a lot of programmers and creative people as well. after all, we World Design Capital in Cape Town. So
No, listen,
right.
you don't have to be polite about Joburg. We know Cape Town's where it's at. It's okay. You can say it. You can say it.
So I want to know: are you shipping a team over to Miami now to work on this? Because this is a long distance
No, it's amazing,
project.
yeah.
So how do you pull that off logistically?
Okay, there's a lot of work that needs to happen. I mean, we have regular calls with the client. We do occasionally. I mean, there was for certain milestones we travel, but pretty much I think the majority of the project happens here in South Africa. Is
Amazing.
locally produced. There is a very strong hardware component as well, and that's why we pulled in Digital Fabric, a Joburg-based company who are absolutely world class with their equipment and systems that they're building for museums and science centers. So they're going to be very much on site from a certain once this comes to installing
The implementation of it.
they're still building, and they're building a 3-story high fish tank, which looks like a martini glass.
Do they build that in a warehouse here? Where did they put that?
We're gonna have a pretty soon. Actually, in April, we're gonna have a mock-up demo section of the wall, which we're gonna build up in Cape Town. The client is gonna come to Cape Town. They always like that we're saying, okay, no, we can't do it in Miami.
Come to Cape Town.
Come to Cape Town. They say, oh yes, okay, why not?
That is fantastic. I just think it's such a fantastic installation and such a fantastic boost for South Africa. In terms of smaller installations, companies might be listening to this going, that's an interesting little thought. Do you do smaller things? Does Formula D get involved in corporate installations, but perhaps not as educational? I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of touch kiosks where we're quite unique because we do software and hardware implementations, and we're working on the content. So we designed a number of touch screens, touch tables, consoles that for different types of environments. It can work in retail, can work in museums, and yes, the answer is yes. At Two Oceans Aquarium, we installed multi-touch, for example, multi-touch screens before the iPhone hit the South African market. So we actually had to explain to people, how to, zoom into an image and stuff like that. People just didn't
The
get
things
it.
we take for
Amazing.
granted now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the world. I mean, don't want to lessen, not specifically South Africa was kind of behind with multi-touch. I mean, you see it still around the world. That people, certain technologies that just take time to
Evolve.
get introduced. And I think touch is one thing that is very it has arrived. In the it's a consumer product now. So now there's a big opportunity to use touch tables, touch kiosks, etc. in other areas than museums.
Michael, you've spoken about digital. You've just mentioned touch. So if I'm a retail store owner, any retail store, am I going to have to start thinking differently because of the things you've spoken about in terms of my shop front window? The days of just staring
Dressing
at
a mannequin.
something. Exactly.
Yeah.
Those days are over, aren't they? All fast dying.
Yeah, no, the technology. I mean, it's good that you mention interactive shop windows. I mean, we're using Kinect controllers, gesture controlled. We can basically in front of a window you can point at an artifact. We involve electronics as well, so we can switch. You can, let's say you're pointing at a piece of clothing, and then we can switch lights or certain animations on the screen or projections. There's so much you can do. You can also obviously link it up to online, which is
you took the
obviously
words
a
out of my
no-brainer.
mouth.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you start thinking about what a business can do in terms of its mobile portal or its online portal, and its apps down the line linked to its actual physical presence, it's endless.
Yeah. And I must say that we are not a complete, like a solution provider as such. We're a design studio. We are, I'm proud to say that all of our projects have some kind of innovation in them, and we are the right partner if a client or a company, corporation would like to really do something unique, something innovative, and push the boundaries a little bit. That's where we're the right partner. We don't have anything off the shelf, really.
Sure.
You know, we got a couple. I mean, obviously, we got a couple of kiosks that developed over time. But our strength is coming up with the right engagement concepts. How do you engage your customers through digital interactive media and in spaces and online, connecting spaces? So we're connecting digital and physical. That's our core.
Final question from me then. iBeacons must be something that you guys are absolutely drooling over when it comes to interactivity with people and mobile phones.
Yeah, well, the iBeacons or iBeam, we want to use it now in this Holocaust Museum.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now you have highly localized content. And these devices, these little kind of trigger points, they're also very affordable.
Yeah.
So you can place them right next to, you have a car standing on, let's say a car reseller, it's got the car and like a brand new model standing on the car park here next door. And you don't even need a showroom. Just park your car there and have a little sign in the window, say switch on your phone, and bang, you got the information and the whole thing.
It sounds to me as though this is a business which is going to grow and grow and grow. I think, it's really sounds exciting. I wish we had more time to catch up with you. Good luck with the installation. When does it happen? Is there a deadline for this to be in?
All right, we got to be pretty much done by the middle of the year from the creative development and from the software, but they're running, they're designing this massive aquarium. They're running already into some problems with the building, so the deadline, the opening date's already been pushed to end of 2015.
Okay.
And so it's going to be a bit of a waiting
Well,
game.
I hope that you'll come back and join us when it's finally installed and tell us the story and kind of round off the whole enigma of this thing, which you're going to do.
I would be very happy.
I'd love to see an artist's impression. Is there one available?
Yeah, there's a very a rough concept sketch available which we can send to you.
I think we should
Fantastic.
put that
Put
on
that up on our website.
Okay.
If you want to find out more about Michael's business, it's www.formula-d.com. That's correct, yeah?
Yes.
Formula-d.com. You can go and find out more there. Michael Wolf, the CEO and Creative Director at Formula D. Thank you for your time today.
The Business on balls.co.za. Brought to you by FNB Business Banking.